Welcome on in. Derek is with us. AJ is with us. Feels like these long first halves, like we're always ready for the All-Star break. Padres seem pretty ready for this All-Star break.
Yeah, this first half felt particularly long, and we were told it was going to be a roller coaster at the very beginning of the season, and it has absolutely been a roller coaster, and they've kind of just ended up where they started. They're at 500.
It's been a roller coaster that I kind of want to get off, and I love roller coasters, but I'm just like, can I get a break? Can I get a churro or something? Like I need to get off the ride and reset my stomach for a minute.
I can always go for a churro, and I'm ready for the break, but a compelling few weeks ahead. So I'm equally interested in to see what awaits. We will discuss that. We'll hear from Todd Strain in a little bit. All right, AJ, the significance of this series win at this stage for the Padres, given where they are in the standings.
I really try not to overreact to a couple games, especially in July, but this was huge. This was massive. This was ahead of the trade deadline, knowing what's coming, knowing the way the wild card race has been going lately. Like, they were 5.5 games back after Friday night's game. And the fact that they won those last two games, the Marlins lost a couple, the wild card race opened up a little bit. They're 3.5 back. They're very much in the picture. Like, they needed these wins, and they got them. And I think people in that clubhouse know. Like, they want to be buyers at the deadline because this is an incomplete roster. It needs pitching. It needs maybe one more bat. But to do that, they have to win games now.
I completely agree with you because they needed to have a reason to be able to go all in. And if they keep on kind of sputtering and staying right here and they don't show any life and the ability to go out and win series like this against, the Blue Jays are scuffling too, but they're still the defending American League champs. They still have a lot of talent on that roster. To go out and lose a tough one on Friday, come back and win 2 one-run ball games on Saturday and Sunday, moving into the break and having that win sitting on 4 games, that changes everything in the mentality of this ball club. And it gives AJ, again, the ability, not you, the other one, to say, hey, we're going to go after this. Yeah. And if he just sees the tiniest sliver of a reason to try and restock the Major League roster, and he'll take it. And I think that's what the fan base wants to see here.
Nobody wants to sell. AJ Preller definitely never wants to sell, and hopefully this is a step towards avoiding that outcome. You mentioned the wild card standings. We'll take a look at the wild card race. Cubs lead the way. Phillies a half game back. Both hold a tiebreak over San Diego. Then you get to Marlins are in the picture as well. They're in possession of the last spot. Cardinals also with the tiebreaker on the Padres. Pirates, D-backs also ahead of the Friars. But as you said, 3.5 looks a whole lot better than 5.5. AJ, how do you handicap this race given the number of teams involved and the number of teams that have that crucial leg up on the Padres?
Yeah, whoever's going to get that final wildcard spot, and I'm saying final wildcard spot because I really like Chicago and Philly as wildcard favorites. I think I would put them as likely in. So that's, how many teams is that? 6 teams competing for one spot. Someone's going to get really hot and get that spot. That's what the Padres have to do. It has to be them. They have to be the team that does it. They were in a similar situation in 2024. They were 50-50 that year. And there were openings at the back end of that wild card race. Someone was going to have to get hot. Well, they got really hot, played the best second half in franchise history, ended up getting home playoff games. I just think that that's possible. With this team, it's gonna need to change a little bit at the deadline. They're gonna have to pick up some guys to fill some holes. But I'm looking at that wild card race. None of those teams blow me away. None of those teams are definitively the favorite for that spot. In fact, if you would just go on pedigree and how they've done in recent years, you would say the Padres have the most postseason pedigree of that group.
All of these teams are flawed in some capacity, right? The Marlins, they're young. You have no idea how they're going to handle going in the second half. The Cardinals, they're young. They're probably at least a year, maybe 2 ahead of what they're supposed to be doing. Nobody buys the Pirates, even if they have a Paul Skeens, because they're so young and they have never wanted to add to the trade deadline. The Nationals pitching is in complete disarray. The Diamondbacks are the one I would look at with Torey Lovullo and how they have been able to be competitive with a lot of injuries, and a guy like Ketel Marte who can spark an offense and get hot late. It's probably going to be these 2 division teams. You're right. I would say those are the 2, given the fact everybody else most likely regresses to the mean. Those are the 2 you got to look at, and if you got a couple division rivals going after each other, that's even more fun down the stretch.
I'm still a little scared of the Marlins, though, if I'm looking at that.
They've got talent, yes,
I do think there's talent there. The offense is good, and the pitching is, they have a good blend. They have a really good young blend. And they just haven't done it.
They save their guys in perfect games and make sure they can pitch later on in the season, too. So that's brilliant strategy.
Well, we'll find out pretty soon because the second half starts with that 10-game road trip, which begins at Kansas City on Friday. 4 against the first-place Braves. Then first matchup with those surprising Marlins, who, again, currently in wild card position, a chance to get the tiebreaker over them. They meet again in September road trip ends 8 days before the deadline. So you got 10 on the road. You got that crucial series, AJ, then about a week until the trade deadline. All this talking about buying and selling, it feels like at that point, maybe that's when we know.
That's exactly what AJ Preller said yesterday too. When we talked mostly about the draft, but he said we're going to know a lot more about what our plan is in a couple weeks. I think in the past you've looked at like what is AJ Preller going to do at the deadline. He knows exactly what he's going to do. Last year he knew exactly what was going to happen. You talk to people around the organization, he knew he wanted Mason Miller. They wanted a catcher like Freddie Fermin. They got all the guys they wanted. This year, I don't think AJ Preller knows what he wants to do. Or no, he knows what he wants to do.
Sure.
He doesn't know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he knows who's available because you look at all these teams that are potentially in the wild card hunt. We still don't know who's going to be selling. We still don't know are the Nationals going to throw in the towel? Are the Pirates going to throw in the towel? Are the A's even going to throw in the towel? We don't know who you can trade with yet, which is why another reason the next 11 days will kind of show you some of these teams will drop out. You can deal with them. Others will say, you know what, we're going for it.
Yeah, and the Padres have played some big series in Atlanta, so but going to Miami for like a really important wild card series, I am looking forward to that.
When was the last time that happened?
It's certainly never happened with the Padres, so I'm just looking forward to what that's going to be because those are two, I think, pretty good teams, and that'll be a competitive series, and I want to see kind of what this Marlins team's all about.
Josh Beckett was throwing to Pudge Rodriguez, I think, last time that happened. Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Much more Padres talk on the way.
To adjust some things, we've got to play better here in the second half, and we've been in this spot a couple of times here in the last few years, and then we've been able to play really well in August and September.
I mean, not how we envisioned it, but hanging around at 500. So, as quickly as that bad stretch came, a good stretch is hopefully in our future.
Look at some of the numbers that have told the story of this Padres first half. Worst batting average in baseball, lowest OPS in baseball, middle of the road ERA, which is propped up by the bullpen. Narrowed down to the starters, it ranks 25th in baseball and near the bottom in quality starts with just 17. Wash it all out, you got a 500 ball club. AJ Cassavell, let's do a Padres first half report card. We'll look at different areas of the team. You guys tell us what grades you want to give, starting with this lineup.
Okay, so we're starting with probably the toughest grade. I think it was an F until about a month ago. I'm gonna give it a D now. If you look over the last month, they've essentially been a league average offense. And if you look at some of like the ballpark factors and whatnot, they've been, I think, 11th in WRC Plus, which is like an all-encompassing hitting metric.
Sure.
Right. So for the last month, it has been an adequate, acceptable, perfectly good offense. Before then, it was abysmal, considering the stars that you have and the big names. Would have given it an F, but I think the fact that they're trending in the right direction, and at this time of year, like that's worth something. Okay, maybe it's not worth anything to you.
Derek liked your original grade.
Yeah, so this is a big, fat, massive F. This was like my report card from high school. This is, they're the worst in the league at this. It doesn't matter if you kind of come on strong, if you're putting 20% in for the first 60%, and you still have an F.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it is a midterm. This is a midterm.
And also, if you have talent like this, and talent like this, and talent like Xander and Jackson, and is still that far below.
Essentially worst in baseball.
It is so underachieved. This is Blutarski level Animal House stuff. It's a massive F.
All right, let's move on. We have got from a pitching side of things, we'll begin with the starters, which may be a challenging grade to try and figure out.
Yeah, I'm going to grade this one on a curve because of the injuries they have. Like if you just look at what the starting rotation has accomplished, it's not good enough. I'd want to say they're 26th in starter ERA, but Nick Pavetta's hurt. Joe Musgrove's hurt. They have a rotation full of guys that are hurt. It's a pretty good rotation. Randy Vasquez and Lucas Giolito. Like there's so many injuries that B- is my grade for the starting pitchers because they've found a way to make it work. I don't know. It hasn't been good enough, but you expect that when those guys come back, it'll be okay.
That's what, for the same reasons you give, I completely agree with you, but I got to give it like this. It's an incomplete. Right? Because you're right. We don't know. We don't know. I mean, Michael King has been better than he wants to admit that he has been, but you don't have Joe Musgrove. You don't have Nick Pavetti. Herman Marquez has been in and out. Lucas Giolito's been in and out. Walker Buehler was great. Now he's not good. You just don't know what they're capable of because they can't all stay on the field and kind of get that synergy and kind of start playing off of each other. So you just don't know what they're capable of. So I can't honestly evaluate them.
I just worry it's going to be incomplete the entire season.
Well,
because of those injuries.
So then we go past fail. Right.
If it ends up being incomplete the entire season, then that's a bad grade because they need these guys back.
Correct.
How about the bullpen?
Ooh.
Let me help you out here.
There we go.
Let me help you out here. There you go.
It's an A.
Yes.
It's an A. I know they have a couple guys hurt right now, but this bullpen has kept the Padres in it. Mason Miller's been the best reliever I've ever seen for the first half of a season. And Adrian Morejon's been better than the numbers say, too.
Yep.
He's gotten a little bit unlucky. You look at kind of some of the depth that they have. I know that Johnny Brito gave up some runs here and there. Ron Marinaccio gives up some runs here and there. Like, this is a deep bullpen that has withstood some injuries. And the fact that they've still carried the Padres some wins, I'm giving them an A.
I'm going to go ahead and just go A+. Because when you look at it, it's not just been the number of innings that they've eaten. They've eaten a lot of innings. They're all high leverage innings. Like and when you throw a pitch in a 2-run game versus a pitch in an 8-run game because your offense is blown up, those are different pitches. They're different stresses on the body. So the fact they've had to cover so many innings and they're all high leverage innings and they've still been this good, that's yes. Mwah.
There's your A+ right
They've had
there.
to cover, they've had to cover so many innings.
That's
huge.
it's crazy. So that's A+ for sure.
The first year skipper, AJ.
I'm going to go C+. I think he's learning on the job. I think I've really kind of appreciated, like maybe early in the season, he put his trust too much into some guys, gave a little too much leash, then he backed off. Like, you were always going to get a learning curve with a first-time manager.
Yes.
I also think, like, to your incomplete point, like, we don't know how a manager does until he's weathered the storm of an entire season. So I'm willing to give him the rest of the season to, like, significantly alter what this grade is. But he's had injuries. He's had inconsistency. He's had kind of all manner of things he's had to deal with. He's
Not
had
a perfect roster.
Yeah, not a perfect roster. And AJ Preller said that yesterday. Like, I'm tempted to even go B- that he's kind of made it work. But I won't go that far because he hasn't made it work. They're 48 and 48 outside of the playoff picture. Some maybe questionable decisions, but I think questionable decisions that he has been learning from on the job.
Interesting you say B- because that's exactly where I'm going to go. I'm going to go just slightly above that with a B-. And the reason I say that is because you're right. He has shown the ability to learn and change. Early in the year, it's our spray chart say this is how we're going to play this guy. And then 2 games later, it's like, that didn't work. I'm going to make an adjustment. So the fact he's learning and showing the ability to not just look at what the metrics say, but see what's happening right in front of his eyes, that's encouraging to me. I think he's on the right track.
Add it all up. Overall grade. Derek, you're right there. What do you got?
Well, since they're 48 and 48, they're exactly average. C is an average grade. That's what it is in school. That's what you're going to get.
That's what I've got as well.
Yes.
They're 48 and 48. Not good enough. They're not a playoff team right now, but good enough to be in contention to where they want to get to.
Where will they be by the time we get to the
Can you be an A the next couple months?
I mean, it has to be an A the next couple weeks for it to be an A the next couple months. Those next couple weeks are going to be huge.
Jake has had a great month of July, hitting .333. Ends the first half with consecutive multi-hit games and .849 OPS, thanks in part to a pair of homers. He's driven in 8 runs, including ribbies, the last 2 days, and a pair of 1-run wins. And AJ, it's almost like, partially because of that concussion, we forgot how much of an impact he can have on this club.
Yeah, and he was clearly not himself when he was trying to play through the concussion, which is a hard thing to do when you're a baseball player and have to look at a baseball for a living and try and hit it. He is such a valuable piece because of the versatility, because of the defense, and because the bat and the quality of at-bats. I think there's more to just Jake Cronenworth than the numbers. He works counts. He works pitchers hard. He's a tough out, and we're starting to see that again. Like, they really, really missed him.
Yeah, he's a guy who works pitchers, and everybody in that clubhouse loves Jake. He's a calming presence to everyone else around him because you know he's going to be steady every single day. The skippers of him, his fellow infielders of him. It's awesome to have him back, and when he does this, it's just almost like the cherry on top.
Yeah, and you kind of add in that he's moved Fernando Tatis Jr. back to right field. He's a lefty bat in a lineup that didn't have enough lefties. Like, what were the Padres missing? It was Jake Cronenworth.
The trickle-down effect is real. It's real.
AJ, the impact of Manny on the Padres' outlook, again, as we're trying to figure out what they do at the trade deadline, when not just the team is playing well, but your star, who, as Craig Stammen said, seems to kind of set the tone for this team, is trending upward.
Yeah, it's so important because of that, because they are getting to the deadline and they're getting to decision time, and they need to know if these stars are going to hit. Like, that's been the big issue of the first half. It's that they have these superstars that are well paid, well compensated, very good hitters historically, and they haven't hit like they can. And everyone knows that they can. Like, we're going to look back on the season not by what Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts, Jackson Merrill did in the first half. It'll be how did they perform down the stretch, and if they fall off, it'll be because of that, or because they haven't performed. And if they get to where they want to get to, it'll be because they hit. Manny Machado, probably the driving force of that, guys. He's definitely the guy that people look to in the clubhouse. So when he's struggling, I think everyone feels it. When he's going, I think everyone feels it too, and we saw that this weekend.
Manny famously hates analytics. right? The analytics say his bat speed has slowed down the last few years. And if you look at what he's done the last 2 weeks or so, you saw it in that highlight, it was really pronounced. He's getting his load quicker. He's getting a little more of a timing step, and he's getting his foot down faster. So I think what he's realized is maybe this whole bat speed thing is a real thing, and he's getting his hand started faster. And all of a sudden, he's barreling baseballs again, even with velocity. So maybe he doesn't like analytics, but somewhere back in there, he listens to what's actually happening, and credit to him for doing this. He is now looking like he is Manny Machado that we're used to. Despite getting going a little bit earlier, he can overcome that little bit of downtick in bat speed. And if he's still barreling baseballs, he still hits the ball very, very hard. Very nice to see.
And he has the potential to barrel balls. Like, we've seen that this season. He has 19 home runs in the first half. He had 19 home runs when his batting average was still below 200. Like, he was on pace for a while to have the lowest batting average of any 30-homer hitter in MLB history. He doesn't want to get that. He wants his batting average to be, I guess he could probably get it somewhere up around 240 by the end of the season. But, like, he's still contributing. He's still able to.
What do you make of the season? Because out of curiosity, I looked up the numbers, and as of a couple days ago, 30% of his hits were home runs. His career average is about 18%. So it's weird to have a guy with down numbers, but still has the power. You're just kind of waiting for Manny Machado just sprinkling singles and doubles, the rest of the time. That part just hasn't been there.
And it's looked like it's been there. Based on this weekend, this guy looks like Manny Machado. I think he's 8 for 16 in his last 4 games. Like, he's some of the hits that you expect from him, spraying the ball to the gaps, and like maybe he's not who he was before. He can't quite leg out that double, but he's still he's still Manny Machado. It's clearly still in there. I've seen it the last month or so even. And when that happens, the Padres really get going.
You saw it twice on this homestand. Bases loaded. What's he do? Doesn't try to sell out for the grand slam. Lines the ball up the middle. Runs score. Padres win those games. If he just does that, they'll be okay.
All right, before we go, one last thought from Todd at Petco Park on the Padres as they enter the All-Star break.
After 17 games in 17 days and 23 games in 24 days, these last 2 wins gave the Padres not belief, but relief. That was the sense I got from inside the locker room. People say, 2 wins, not a big deal. Back to 500, not a big deal. Maybe not, but for the guys inside the locker room, there was just kind of a, let's exhale. We caught our breath. We're at 500. We're headed to the All-Star break. We think we can play better in the second half. So maybe not belief, but relief when you're talking about the Padres inside that locker room as they reach the first half of the MLB season.
Great work, Todd. And sure beats the alternative, AJ, especially you have to sit on a loss and a series loss for 4 days until you get to KC on Friday. But we know, and you've touched on it, like that Rangers series in 2023, they sweep the Rangers. They're a really good team. And that was enough to compel AJ Preller to sell. So any positive result we'll take at this point as maybe an inclination that they will go for it this year.
Yeah, and I think that these series they have coming up are just the perfect runway to the trade deadline, because they'll get 2 teams they're trying to chase down in the National League in Atlanta and Miami, and I think they end the first half with Colorado, San Francisco, teams they should be beating. So you want to prove yourself that you're a contender in the National League, beat some other contenders, and then tack on a couple more wins right before the deadline. It's all right there in front of the Padres. They've made it through this stretch. We always knew this was going to be a tough stretch. They've made it through it.
If they had just the league average offense that you talked about for the last month or 2 that they've had, they would be 10 games over 500 right now. If they are just a league average offense for the second half of the season and AJ gets them a little bit of pitching depth, they can very easily play 10, 12 games over 500. That gets them in the postseason. And then if you have a locked-in Michael King and you're in a wild card spot, I'd take my chances.
And whoever you trade for potentially in the rotation.
Precisely.
That's where their focus should be. They just need the stars to hit. That's how close they are. I really think so.
And it starts in Kansas City, so kind of first impressions on the second half. We will discuss that next week after Dodgers-Yankees. Great work, you two fellas. Todd Strain out at Petco Park as well. News is next. Have a great week.
Good chance to trade for Bobby Witt Jr. See you later.